Yeah, these are the questions for you to think over. And I summarize the argument, but I don't think I need to talk about it now. Because I think the poem is easy enough for you to try to understand. So let me do the most interesting thing, and that is to try to put metaphysical poetry in context, in two kinds of context. One is their context, and then our context. Definition of metaphysical poetry, again, the combination of the spirit and the matter, the use of wood. Okay, this concept of wood is very important later also in the film Wood. Okay, wood means a kind of nimbleness of the thought, 就是很灵活，很会用那个比喻，很会去在逻辑上去发展，然后去做狡辩或者是做比喻。Okay, and the wood is associated also with fancy, with being imaginative in using figures of speech, and so wood sometimes is defined as a clever use of language. That's also a kind of wood. Okay, and it is this wood that Professor Baring in the film Wood appreciates. But because she suffers from ovarian cancer, and in the hospital she later reflects on her life and realizes that wood is not everything. Okay, so I will show you that part. So the poems are a form of argument. And in the love poetry of metaphysical poetry, it usually uses the concept of Neoplatonism or Neoplatonic love. But interestingly, sometimes there is a kind of truthfulness to the description of the minds, the description of the speakers or the lady. You know, that's something we can relate to. Okay, the kind of psychological realism. And a metaphysical conceit, again, the use of metaphor, extended metaphor, which involves striking comparison and sometimes paradoxical comparison. Okay, and sometimes the comparison is so unusual that the effect can be shocking. And the use of the terminology from science, from law, from the other branches of knowledge, which are were usually not mixed with literature at that point. Okay, and metaphysical poetry happened around the same time. In England, it is the time of revolution, the Puritan Revolution, 清教徒革命, and then the killing of Charles I. Okay, before the Restoration, you know, there was a time in the 17th century where literature was banned, literally, when in the Commonwealth period, okay, in the middle part of the 17th century, theater was closed, and literature was seen as being too sentimental. But then before and after that, well, after that period, then we move towards the neoclassical period, you know, which emphasizes balance, the balancing of sound and sense, the balancing of emotion and intellect. But before the first part of the 17th century, you know, shows really both political upheavals and great inspirations in literature. You know, and the political sentiments or revolutionary sentiments at that time influence the cultural and literary expressions, so that the cultural and literary expressions tend to be filled also with tension, with paradoxes, with extravagance or some originality. Sometimes people say that at peaceful time you don't have great literature, and maybe that's true. You know, when life is hard, when the time comes with a lot of troubles, then geniuses or creativity can be inspired. And I think the 17th century is one example. And we can see metaphysical poetry as a kind of literary baroque, 巴洛克时代，巴洛克的音乐。其实我对巴洛克的音乐不太熟哈，我这边介绍事实上是那个 baroque painting. And I think that you can relate the use of language in metaphysical poetry to the pen strokes in Baroque painting. Okay, because both use really strong images, rich colors, and also rich and contrasted colors to show strong emotions. Okay, for instance, this one, Rubens' Garden of Love, and you get to see that all the images or all the colors are in harmony with each other, but then strong. Each one of them are very strong, and the clothes, the pleats on the dresses, 就是它的那个皱褶, are presented in detail. And it is this attention to details, to the strength in human energies, the strength in human emotions, which are characteristic of Baroque painting as well as metaphysical poetry. So this is the enlarged image, and you can see all the details paid to the descriptions of the dresses, the presentation of the dresses. But human figures are not in clear contour, 就它的那个 line 不是很清楚的. So there's this merging of the figures with its context, and then with a focus on the courting gentleman or the courting guy. He being the center, courting this lady, and then the other ladies and the other gentlemen watching him. Okay, and then this lady being the focus, and the light, falls on a great light is focused on this lady, and then a lot of angels, Cupid, around to symbolize love. Okay, so it is this richness of colors and richness of images, and the strength of the emotions conveyed in this painting that you also get to have in metaphysical poetry. And you can say that the presentation in metaphysical poetry or in a painting like this is not really natural. It is to exaggerate to such a degree that you get to have the sense of abundance, or you get to have richness presented in some paradoxical ways. Okay, but not really a natural painting presented in natural light. Okay, so this is just for your reference, because some of you may like paintings, and you can try to relate metaphysical poetry with Baroque painting. Let me move on to Wood, the film. I'll show you a few parts where she shows how she remembers the past when she teaches metaphysical poetry. And then as she goes through the treatment, she really gets to be dehumanized. She becomes an experiment for the doctors, receiving large dosages of chemotherapy. Okay, to such a degree that she sometimes loses herself. Okay, so let me start to show the film.